Hello, my Belfast Thousand Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. All right, we are back with another That Chapter. This one is titled The Torture of Annastasia Hester. Ooh, that's a pretty name, Anastasia. It's also a movie. Pretty good movie. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead, turn the mics down low, put on something comfy, come up with someone special. I have a feeling this is going to be trauma. Let's get traumatized. Come on, y'all. Come on down to, the Bill 5000 Reacts channel. Get traumatized. Go home with a smile.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, what we are doing today is going to Oregon to look at a story of love and a story of hate. And, well, what they kind of usually lead to, in the context of me telling it. On the outskirts of Portland lies the city of Gresham, and in that city lived Anastasia.
Yeah, if it's ending up on that chapter, it's going to be a little fucked up. Mike comes in with some pretty fucked up stuff. Love him though.
Lovely name, bit unlucky, and definitely in this one, so let's see why. By giving it a go. In the suburb of Gresham, you got beautiful views, you can see that big ol' Mount Hood, you got your forests, and the biggest issues according to, reviews on niche.com are intolerance, boo, homeless camps, and, the big one, a lack of vegan food variety. Well, everyone has their own priorities. But what was a priority to the Gresham City Police?
You gotta have some vegan food, bud. There's not many vegan restaurants where I live either. Kind of sucks because I'm pretty well vegan. Like, I still eat my cheese, but I eat no meats. So I get the appeal on having a few of them. Yeah.
Was this 911 call? It was made at around 3 a.m. on the 10th of June 2016.
How can I help you? I'm hurt, children. Do you need an ambulance? What happened? Oh no.
She just told you someone tried to fucking kill her. I mean, I know she's asking, like, okay, what did they do? I don't know. That was just thinking of calling 911. Someone tried to kill me. Okay, do you need ambulance? No. No. They tried. It didn't succeed. If they succeeded, I would be calling you, telling you to send me, a hearse. So,
Somebody's on first. Somebody's trying. Where's this person at now? I'm not here. Do you know the name of the person that did this to you? No. Are you bleeding a lot?
In an apartment.
are you bleeding a lot? Yeah. It's not funny. Why do I do that? Oh God. Oh, someone just started stabbing me. Are they still there? No, if there was, they would still be stabbing me. Do you know who it was? If I did, I would have said someone. I would have said Bobby or Brad or Giselle or I don't know. Just pick a name. Insert name here. I mean, I understand that they have to ask those questions. But damn.
Apartment off Eastman Parkway lived 34-year-old Anastasia, Annie, Hester. Annie, born Annastasia Holmes in 1981, was a native Oregonian, growing up in the same area she lived now. She was the daughter of Charles and Elizabeth. Wait, her mother is Elizabeth Holmes? She had previously worked at Champion, an after-school program for the kiddos, but lately she was working in Stericycle, a waste management company. No, she wasn't in the mafia. Annie, she had a daughter named Alice. She had been married for about 5 years to a man named Matt Hester from 2008 to 2012. Annie was extremely devoted to her daughter, now as a single mother. Annie and Matt, after their divorce, they came to an amicable arrangement regarding their daughter. But when she wasn't working, she certainly was the creative sort. She loved making Christmas ornaments, cards, and she was skilled at face painting and henna too. So when she made that, frankly quite disturbing 911 call in June 2016, it seemed like it all came crashing down. When the police arrived at her apartment, thankfully her daughter Alice wasn't there. She was at her dad's house for the weekend. But when the emergency services and stuff, they arrived, you know, Annie, who just made the 911 call, she was now unresponsive. She was bleeding out. She'd been stabbed all over, and she
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, sounded really weak. Like, I've been, yeah, like she's just lost too much blood. Her body is just. You get this when you've lost a lot of blood, a large amount. You get weak. You do. There's basically kind of just fall asleep and never wake up.
was immediately rushed to hospital, but after just a couple of hours, she would pass away.
Oh.
When the police arrived, the door was unlocked, and bloody footprints were found leading out. In the backyard, the window-mounted AC unit was outside, like dangling, as if someone had removed it to gain entry to one of the windows in Annie's apartment via, the gap. The window which led to her daughter Alice's bedroom. Well, that's not good. Alice's bedroom was in fact...
But why was it hanging outside when you just push it inwards? I mean, I don't know. I've never broken into someone's house through an air conditioner, a window with an air conditioner in it, and murdered them. I've never done it, but I would imagine it'd be easier to just go grab it and just in instead of out. I guess either would work, wouldn't it? That's fucked up. I don't ever want to have a window unit. That's awful.
The only bedroom in that small apartment. Annie herself, she slept on a pull-out, couch bed in the living room. It looked like it had been in use, and judging by the fact the phone call was made so late, the initial thought was someone had broken in and attacked Annie while she was sleeping. Like I said, luckily Alice wasn't there at the time. It's an extremely brutal scene. Annie had been stabbed over 60 times. There was a lot of lost blood. Multiple...
That's a crime of fucking pure hatred and anger. Had to be someone she knew. Had to be.
Knives were found at the scene, so that's a bingo right there. Although that could mean more than one person was involved. One was a folding knife, likely the killer's own. The others were Annie's own kitchen knives. Whoever did what was done to Annie, they really wanted to make sure,
So we just got an update from Gresham Police. Unfortunately, they're no closer to solving this mystery than they were yesterday. They still don't know who killed Annastasia Hester.
Oh, I am so going to hell. They want to make sure, they want to make sure it's done right. Oh, Mike.
Hester. In fact, they say they need the public's help in finding out. We did talk to a family member who didn't want to go on camera, who said they feel it's a stranger because Annastasia, they said, did not have any enemies. Now, yesterday, Multnomah County search and rescue teams were out assisting with this investigation, combing through the dense brush near the Springwater Trail, looking for any clues to try to figure out just who might want to do this to this young mom.
As the investigation began, the police found out from the scene of the crime. Annie lived in an apartment building, so it was hoped that, someone might have heard something, seen something, in the surrounding. And luckily, they had. They had actually heard quite a commotion the night before. At around 11:30 in the PM, some of the neighbors reported hearing screaming, a thud, doors slamming, cars racing off. It was a fierce commotion now, let me tell you. People thought they were, somebody's having a real good time out there. They realized they weren't having a very good time when the Ninas showed up. But what that told the police was immediately if that...
Oh my god. Okay, so people heard all this, and no one, no nosy neighbor, was like, fuck this. I'm calling the police. I ain't dealing with it no more. I've lived in apartments. Not even an apartment complex like that. Our apartments that I lived in whenever I was younger, there was the townhouse kind, and you had boom, boom, boom. They were spaced apart pretty decently. There was a lot of assholes that lived there. A lot of assholes. You got a little too loud, you had someone knocking on your damn door. And don't most apartment complexes like that have cameras, like, at least for their own insurance purposes nowadays? Like,
Neighbors heard commotion, screaming at around 11:30, and then Annie was able to call 911 shortly before she passed away at around 3 a.m. So from 11:30 to 3 a.m., this has been going on for quite some time. She had been tortured to death. What's most interesting, though, is that even though it lasted almost, 4 hours, after all that time, Annie, she didn't know who it was. She said on the 911 call she hadn't got a clue, which makes you think it certainly wasn't someone she knew at all. But regardless, the investigation would start with people she did know. 35-year-old Matt Hester, he was first up. The estranged husband tends to be the boogeyman in these situations. But, one look would tell you he...
it's sad but true. For some reason, every time people get divorced, it had to be out of just pure hatred, not for any other reason other than they just wasn't compatible.
Probably wouldn't be up to much. He used a cane and complained that due to some medical issues, he was in constant pain. That's what he told the police.
And so I guess, obviously I told you at the house that your ex-wife is deceased. Mm-hmm. But you didn't say how or anything. We'll talk about that in a minute or two. Okay.
Interestingly, though, the most he would do when told of his ex-wife's gruesome murder would be the old... That's tough.
She said that she had been stabbed. Officers responded down there.
Maybe he's just one of them people. Just because there wasn't enemies when they separated from each other doesn't mean they was like all buddy and best friends. And the ex-wife been stabbed. Oh, that sucks. You know you did it? No. Oh. Let me guess, you're thinking it's me. Yeah. Well, shit. They're separated for a reason.
She had been injured. She was transported to the hospital, and she was pronounced dead at the hospital. And at this point, we're investigating this as homicide. Did your ex-wife say anything about having any problems with anyone?
I don't talk about her personal life.
Okay.
Seems that Matt had been cheating on Annie, hence the divorce, but they stayed on good terms overall. For Alice, if nothing else.
How are your feelings towards Anne?
Mostly indifferent. I want to deal with her as little as possible.
Matt would then go on to marry a woman named Angie McCraw. She had her own kids and they'd have a little family of their own. Neither Matt nor Angie worked. They were chilling out permanente. Matt, though, what he was going to do and make a big in was penning fantasy stories. He had this whole fantasy universe, done out. See, in the real world, he was simply 35-year-old Matt Hester, dole artist. But in here, he was Sargon Dorsey, creator of a fantasy universe. He dreamt of other epic worlds.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I mean, I liked Dungeons and Dragons whenever I was growing up and whatnot, and I was a little nerdy. I was a little geeky. I get that. Yeah, it happens. This dude old. Don't you grow out of that eventually? I mean, I still like playing games like that.
Entel, specifically. If that sounds pretty rad, let me tell you more. It makes Middle-earth look like, frankly, like shit. Legends speak of a time when the world was one. They speak of a time when the mortal races lived together in harmony and prosperity. They speak of the general peace that was maintained between the races. They speak of the ones who shattered that peace and sundered the world apart. Okay, it drones on a bit, get this guy an editor. Blah blah blah! Legends speak of that which has come before, and legends will be written of what shall take place. What all the legends speak of you. Welcome to the world of Entel. It was an MMORPG he was working on, and it featured such races as the Shari, the Rashan, the Shartha, the Woodlings, and the Groka. This was almost a fully thought out fantasy world and all that shit. Now, I'd consider myself...
I'd play it. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, fuck it, why not?
Bit of a nerd, pretty nerdy guy. Reading through all this bullshit was even giving me acne. He was a big fan of D&D and Magic the Gathering, and so that sort of genre was his niche. He even provided video updates. Listen up.
I'm pleased to say that I've continued the trend to get my dreams written down every day. Today is Sunday, July 24th, 2016. This is the first of what I hope to be a weekly video log, just going over what I've been working on for the past week in terms of writing, some gaming with my wife, getting that uploaded on YouTube. The project I'm most excited about actually just started today, and that's sharing the races for Entel Chaos Prophecies. That's the MMORPG that I'm helping to develop. This week I introduced the Rashan, which is one of our lizard races. You'll find the link to that particular blog entry in the links below. When you're writing and building, there are a lot of details that go into the background for that world. Especially when you're building something in a completely new setting with new races, new lands, new histories. New histories? Is that a thing? We've got lizard people, cat people, snake people.
Is that a thing? New history? Old history? I mean, I imagine. I mean, you always come across new history, so yeah, you got it, bud. I have a feeling you killed her. You weirdo.
People, race that is still
making cat people. Did he go into his fantasy, become a cat person? Meow.
Defying explanation. That's what I've been working on. And thanks for stopping by. 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 Thanks for stopping by.
Or he would post videos as Sargon Dorsey playing video games with his wife, with Angie. Here is Matt and Angie playing together on July 20th, 2016, over a month after Annie's death.
I'm not being Dahaka, so fuck off. No, I need to be Dahaka because I only need a little bit more to level him up.
Well, what's your quest for today?
Play 8 games.
Play 8 games? Mine's only win 3 games. Okay, fine.
As always, links down below if you'd like to read more about his wonderful universe. It's great stuff.
I'm good. That'll be a time in my life I'll never get back.
Let's move on. In recent times, though, things between Matt and Annastasia had been on the
Oh,
rocks.
shit.
This was due to essentially a couple of months before. Anastasia had been given full custody of Alice, and, well, things were roughing up.
I mean, obviously, we got to consider all possibilities here, and I'm sure you've seen TV. When we have situations like this, everybody points to the ex-husband did it.
I want to help you guys because
And I want to.
the sorry. The thing I'm worried about is my daughter.
I hear you. Matt, if you had anything to do with Anne's death, I need to know about it right now.
I did not. I would never do anything that would endanger my child.
Okay. And I'm glad to hear you say that, because that tells me what kind of parent you are. Is there any way I find your DNA involved in that murder scene?
No.
The police questioned the hell out of Matt. They wanted to wiggle him. They even lied and said they knew he did it, which is such a fucking shitty police tactic, by the way.
I need to let you know that my investigation clearly shows that you're responsible for Anne's death, and you're involved in it intimately. There's
Well, then you would have charged me. So
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
if you thought I did, you would charge
Nope,
me. I
not
had
necessarily.
nothing to do with her death.
Have a seat right there.
Angela was questioned to confirm Matt's story. I mean, whether Annie and Matt were on good terms, he just didn't seem capable physically of doing what had been done, but they wanted to double check with Angie. And they both confirmed they hadn't left the house. Their stories stood up. Except one little part. Angie said that at about 3 AM she had to let the dogs out to go potty. And then she herself had to go potty, because she talks like a fucking child apparently.
Took him potty, came back upstairs, and then I went to go potty and ended up puking and myself at the same time.
No, that's horrible. I'm sorry.
Then she got sick, and Matt had to help her, and they showered together.
Called Matt to help me, and he came and helped me. Took a shower to help get the poop off and rinse some of the sweat off. It makes apparently I was sweating.
Now, Matt never said
Hey, I don't care if I'm being investigated or not. I don't think I'm gonna sit there and look a stranger and be like, "Hey, man, what you know? Last night I shit myself. Did what I could. Just jumped in the shower, sprayed it down the drain." I'm sorry. There's never gonna be a time where I literally shit myself. I will pull my britches down. I will shit and whatever else is around. I do not want to shit myself. I don't. No. No. I don't care. I don't give a damn. I will drop them and poop in the middle of Walmart before I will literally shit myself. Yes, I am that type of motherfucker. I really wouldn't. Luckily, when my belly gurgles at all, I run. If I think a fart might be more than a fart, I run. I take no chances. Nope. Nope. Nope.
he got out of bed that night.
So what were you and Angela doing last night?
Sleeping.
Okay. Do you know what time you went to bed?
I usually get into bed around 10 o'clock.
Okay.
The story doesn't match. And Matt and Angie showered together at about 3 AM, right around the time the killers left Annie's house. Maybe at a time when the killer might be washing the blood off? Thinker. Something that was also odd was that other people lived in Matt and Angie McGraw's house, not just their kids. Rent must be a bitch. And it must be quite the bitch, because one of the roommates was Aaron McGraw. Wait, what? Did I read what I wrote right? Angie's ex-husband and father of 2 of her children. Bit awkward that her ex-husband is living now with the new husband. God knows what goes on in their bedroom. Who am I to judge? You know what weirdos do. But Aaron happened to be out that night. Another roommate
I don't understand that. Why would you live with your old lady's ex-old man? I mean, a few ideas pop in the mind on why, but why? That's no.
Said he saw Matt and Angie in bed around midnight, and they slept into the living room. And the final roommate lived in the garage, and she said their car, which was right outside, so she would have heard it if it had been, driven. But she didn't, so they never left, according to her. Okie dokie then, so that's that. Matt told the police that Annie was into the polyamorous love scene. Very nice.
The guy she's seeing was in a relationship, and Anne was in a relationship with both of them, the guy and the girl.
So Anne was dating both the female and the male.
Correct.
It seemed that Annie had been involved romantically with quite a few people. Fair play to her, but that just led the investigation in like a million different directions. Ultimately, all of them would be dead ends, but this is kind of funny, is that apparently one of the scenes she was involved with is that they all like to dress up as pirates and bang. Honestly, though, that sounds pretty fucking cool. Show me your arse! But hunting...
What? Show me your arm. You shiver me timbers, lassie. Arg. 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 It makes the wood plank shiver. Gonna visit her Davy Jones locker. Okay, no.
Down that, the only rear...
Batten down them hatches. That was the last one. Release the Kraken. Oh, fuck. There's something in me eye patch.
Ends they saw were dead ends. That doesn't make sense. And so it all comes back to Annie not knowing who it was. Was it random, a passerby, some psycho out there? Well, it is Portland. Ha ha ha. The only solid evidence they had was that a neighbor's security camera showed, get this, a car driving out of Matt and Angie's home shortly before 11 p.m. They had said they hadn't left, and it certainly was their car, and it was seen driving all the way towards Annie's house. It pulled up right around the time neighbors heard that scream, and then left around the time Annie called the cops.
Damn.
What about the roommates? One said they saw them in bed, the other said they didn't hear the car leave. Well, the one who said they saw them in bed could have either been mistaken or just lying. Ditto the second. They could have rolled the car out of the driveway so they wouldn't have heard it leave. Or again, she was just lying. The only catalyst that seemed clear was the custody issue from a couple of months before, in May. Annie got full custody, and apparently it got nasty, including calls to Child Protective Services on each other, calls that were baseless. And neither Matt nor Angie worked, so what they did to pay the bills was, well, I got a full-time job applying for benefits, baby. They would have, their children diagnosed with various ailments to get some money, some benefits. And so, well, having Alice around would add a few more cha-ching to their monthly income, you know what I'm saying? That then worked against Matt, and Annie ended up getting full custody. What Matt got in return was 42 grand in court fees and child support payments. He'd even lost his driver's license due to not paying child support.
My wife's recording this, so she's sending me strange looks.
But now, in all of this, they still didn't know who the actual killer was, because in that footage, they couldn't see who was in the car. A funny story, though, is that less than a week after Anastasia's death, Matt called up the insurance company to ask about her life insurance policy. You wouldn't happen to know if either me, ex-husband, or Alice, the daughter, would happen to be beneficiaries of her life insurance policy, would you? Oh, it's a negative for parents? Well, this wouldn't happen until... It seems Matt may have thought he was the beneficiary of Annie Hester's life insurance policies, and he was wrong.
It has been 1 year since the brutal murder of a Gresham mother, and whoever killed her is still out there.
A year later, detectives tell me the case is far from cold, but remains unsolved.
Do you think it's a stranger or somebody she knows?
We're not sure. We haven't ruled out either at this point.
The police did get a clue on Angie's phone when they found she purchased shoes that matched the bloody footprints. Tracking their phones, and after a big ol' search, they would find the murder boots in the woods.
Damn.
It was almost a year and a half after Annie's death in October 2017 that an arrest was made. This took so long because, well, getting a DNA sample was very difficult. Not much had been left behind, but they did find one microscopic fragment, which, due to advances in the technology, could say Angie Hester McGraw had been there. They were now living in Pocatello, Idaho. Matt, who had walked with a major limp before, was now healthy as a horse, and Angie was arrested for the murder of Annie Hester.
In the car. No! In the car. I have kids. They're going to be coming home. Tell me why you're arresting me. Why am I being arrested, you stupid I have kids. I don't.
The suspect has been identified as Angelo Rose.
Oh, you know why you being arrested. Don't act like a fool. Call me a bitch. We're gonna get it up to 55. I'm gonna slam on them brakes and watch your head bust off the back of that window. Call me a bitch again.
Rose McCraw Hester. She is currently being held in an Idaho jail on a murder warrant. We can tell you she is the wife of the man who used to be married to the victim.
But how did Annie Hester not recognize Angie if she broke in and tortured her for like 3.5 hours, stabbing her slowly to death? How did Annie not know her? She would have known Angie, right? Quite simply, she was probably wearing a disguise or had, Annie blindfolded up. Police certainly thought Matt was involved. They just couldn't prove it.
Our investigation clearly shows that Angela committed the murder against Annastasia. We're not here to discuss it after. I don't care what you think. In fact, you've been under surveillance for the last 2 weeks by the U.S. Marshals. So we've got you walking across the parking lot at Costco, picking up soda boxes and water bottles, whatever you were doing. You're not naked. You're not walking with a cane. I'm not buying the fibromyalgia. I'm not buying it. Okay?
He, though, was happy to throw Angie under the bus. He said he woke up and she had just come home, covered in blood. And then when he learned Annie was dead the next day, he still didn't ask. He also said Angie tried to hire ex-husband Aaron McGraw to do it. 15 grand was supposed to be the payment, but it didn't work out. They couldn't afford it, he said. Aaron McGraw would completely deny this. He would say, no, they never asked me to kill somebody, and if they did, I would shoot that shit down. Angie was taken back to Portland and was looking at the death penalty for breaking into Annie's house, torturing her, and stabbing her to death. Matt was arrested in 2019, 2 years after Angie, on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, solicitation to commit murder, and hindering prosecution. It seems they'd been building their case for quite some time.
The 38-year-old is now behind bars for his role in the June 2016 murder of his ex-wife and woman he shares a child with. A lot of police work led to the charges Hester is facing: criminal conspiracy to commit murder, solicitation of murder, and hindering prosecution.
And not even the Shari, the Roshan, the Sharta, the Woodlings, or the Groka could help Matt Hester now. Neither case, though, would end up going to trial. Both pleaded guilty to the charges. Angie Hester McGraw got 25 years to life. Matt Hester got 5 years, and he could be out on parole as early as 2023. He wasn't charged with murder because, they said they didn't want to shoot their shot, and they might be saving that for later. And there you have it, once again a twisted plot of a whole family comes together to kill a part of it. And the good old getting someone to do the dirty work for you. It's actually startling that he could persuade Angie. You know, and everybody liked Angie. She was seemingly a normal person until she tortured somebody to death. You know, Matt also recorded his other non-fantasy writings on his blog, and also his dreams. They say there's nothing more boring than hearing about someone's dreams, and frankly, I agree. Because I was begging to read more of his fantasy shit after a paragraph. Anyways, one of the writings, from January 2019, right before he was arrested, is called Erasing the Evidence, which I find very funny, because he did a shit job. But he wouldn't have gotten caught in Entil, let me tell you. Thank you for watching. Means a lot if you got to...
Oh my god. Oh. I think he had part. I think they all did, honestly. I do. Like, they all live together. And I'm not saying like everyone who lives together is going to jump on everyone else's bandwagon, but to live in that close to proximity, not know that they left at all, came back covered in blood. They don't seem like people who could keep secrets for the shit. They probably said something stupid to him. I think they all had a part in it. That's just my opinion. It really is. I mean, of course, the XO man's gonna be like, no one came at me with any offer to kill no one. If they would have, I would have said no. I'm just saying. That's my opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. They all smell bad, except for mine. Smells like roses. But I, I, hmm. What made him think he was going to get away with it is my question. Like, because you write some, what sounds like pretty shitty fantasy shit, you think you are going to get out something because, I don't know. I don't. Look, I understand that every divorce is going to be amicable. I know not every divorce is going to be because they hate each other. Not every divorce is going to end with them being friends, enemies. Every divorce is different. But don't make each other's lives a living hell because you don't work out. Bite the bullet and do what you do. Go your way, they go their way, you meet in the middle for the kids. I know it's not as easy as the way as I say, but no matter what, you're gonna have to be in each other's lives for at least 18 years. If both parents want something to do with that kid, you're gonna be a part of each other's lives for at least 18 years. That's how it is. Cross the bullshit and move on with it. Don't call CPS every time you turn around just to be spiteful or try to start shit or whatever the case may be. That's stupid. That's just gonna make the kid fucked up. Now this poor child is gonna grow up without a mother, a father. I did enjoy the insurance segment, so that was choice. Ah. All right. If y'all enjoyed today's story as much as I did, please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, deranged things that just make you go, what the fuck is wrong with people? Think about subscribing. I guarantee you'll never understand what the hell's wrong with people because I sure the hell don't. I've watched all kinds of these videos. I don't understand. Damn, no. People are freaking out there, bro. Alright. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. The pirate sex thing, though, that got me. Oh, God. Batten down the hatches. I have me, matey. Be easy with my scallywag. There's a stowaway on board. I'm gonna stop. I could do this forever. Be easy with my parrot woman. He's an old bird.